WBAY TV, your first alert station. Action 2 News This Morning live stream starts now.
Hey, good morning and welcome to our Action 2 News This Morning live stream. I'm Emerson Lehman. Tammy's got the morning off. We're so glad that you could join us for a few extra minutes talking about the big stories that we've been following throughout the day. And one of the main stories that a lot of people have been talking about right now are those ice conditions out there. They've been deteriorating quickly across northeast Wisconsin. And there are big events happening this weekend, sturgeon spearing right around the corner. The local sheriff's department's urging people to use extreme caution if you plan to venture out onto the ice to partake in some of those events. We've got Kristen Allen joining us live in Swamico this morning. Kristen, there's, as we mentioned, several big events coming up, and what does the poor ice conditions mean for those events?
Yeah, Emerson, well, as you mentioned, sturgeon spearing is coming up. That's actually in a couple of weeks in February, so it'll be interesting to see how that sort of plays out. It's still a few weeks away, but as we've been hearing from Steve, the long-range models still show these above-average temperatures. There's also a battle on Bago, which is happening on February 16th and 17th, and we're learning that the ice fishing part of that has been canceled. Organizers still want you to know that the event itself, the larger portion of the event, is still happening. So there's still going to be raffles, there's still going to be live music, and there's still going to be the big fish fry on Friday night of that event. But the ice fishing has been canceled because of the poor ice conditions. They made that decision already, even with that event being a few weeks away. And then this weekend, there's the Otter Street Fishery. That is happening on Saturday in Oshkosh. As of right now, it is still scheduled, but we'll have to see what happens because of the poor ice conditions.
Of course, a very very fluid situation, Kristen. And I know you spoke with the Winnebago and Brown counties. Have there been any rescues recently out on the ice?
Yes, there's definitely been a couple. In fact, right here at Sunset Beach Park in Swamico yesterday, there was a call out. The Brown County Sheriff's Department came out here behind me to the bay. Originally, it came in as a call that a snowmobile went through the ice, but regardless, they say that, you know, whenever they hear anything went through the ice, they have to send all the resources. They have to come check it out. When they got here, they discovered it was actually a snow dog machine that went through the ice, and luckily, no one went through the ice with it, so there was no rescue of people that had to be made, which is fortunate. And then in Winnebago County, they said that they've had an ATV go through the ice recently, and actually in speaking to the lieutenant from Winnebago, he said he didn't want to jinx it because there haven't been too many yet, but with the ice conditions being so poor, they are hoping that there's not an uptick in those.
All right, Kristen, certainly, as we mentioned, a very fluid situation. We'll continue to keep people posted on that. I know a lot of fishing clubs, snowmobile clubs, they keep people updated on the ice conditions as well. And then we've got this guy who's tracking all these cold temperatures. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome to the weather wall.
We're here.
Mi casa is su casa.
I appreciate you're always so accommodating. And we're talking about the lack of ice. There's another thing that we've been missing a lot of.
Sun.
Where's the sun at?
Well,
I love this wanted poster.
We've got a
here.
wanted poster,
yeah.
And it asks, have you seen it? And if so, contact the First Alert Weather Center because, you know, seeing the sun is its own reward.
Still looking for it. Yeah.
Right. See, 7 out of the last 8 days in Green Bay have been cloudy. That one day where it wasn't, it was partly sunny. That's being kind of generous.
Sure.
So this looks like a hole in the overcast skies on our nighttime satellite view, but it's not. The blue here, low clouds near the ground.
So much blue.
But what looks like a hole in the cloud cover up towards Marinette County is
right in there.
Way up there. That's actually some high cloud cover, which is blocking our view of the low clouds below. So it gives you kind of false hope, like, oh, it's clearing over top of Crivets or around that area. But it's going to be a cloudy start to the day. We will see some patchy sunshine if all goes well later this morning into the afternoon. Any sun would be great. We'll take it. And our high should get up to about 41 degrees. That is rather mild for this time of year.
That is not helping those ice conditions that we just talked about there. Are just continuing to deteriorate.
Yep.
And I know the anglers, the snowmobiler clubs, everything like that is just disappearing.
Yeah. And there's really no major change. I mean, what you see is kind of what you get here with Pinpoint Predictor. A lot of clouds, and there are those little holes in the cloud cover that we're hoping will develop later this morning and into the afternoon. Even farther south, there might be a little smidge of some sun in the Fox cities and towards Green Bay. A lot of times this time of year, Because we have cold air that hugs the ground and some milder air over top of it, the clouds can prove to be very stubborn. And so sometimes the computer models don't want to really, clear things out. And I suspect that despite some patchy sun, the clouds will probably be locked into place as we go into tonight.
Stubborn clouds. I love the way you put it that way. And yeah, just looking at, look at these temperatures. This is the last day of January.
Right. This isn't
March. It should be like in the 20s right here, right?
No, 26 is average.
Wow.
We're looking at low 40s, 45 in Wapaka, 43 in Fond du Lac. These high temperatures compared to that average, 10 to 20 degrees warmer than normal. No wonder why the ski resorts up north have had it so bad.
Yeah.
When you are 20 degrees warmer than normal, do you really expect the snow to stick around?
And you can't make the snow because it's not cold enough to do that.
Yeah.
You're dealing with all kinds of, it's just the perfect storm for
The
them.
only thing that might feel quote unquote cold is the fact that the wind picks up today. Wind chills will be in the lower half of the 30s as
Make it feel
opposed
a
to the
little
40s.
More brisk out there with that.
So here's what's going on. The jet stream is playing a big role in this. So I paused it at Saturday.
Okay.
See how the wind flows down to Texas, then it kind of backs towards Wyoming, then goes up into the Canadian
Big,
Rockies.
S
and
shape right there.
Yeah. Meteorologists call that a Rex block. I know that sounds a little highfalutin, but here's the deal. There's low pressure here, there's high pressure here, and it's clogging up the weather pattern coming across North America. So the Arctic air is forced to ooze its way up towards far northern Canada, down into eastern Canada, while we see a lot of days in the 40s. I mean, we may drop to 36 on Groundhog's Day. Big deal. But low 40s all the way into the weekend, and the first half of next week is also looking very warm and also very dry, Emerson. So no snow for snow lovers.
And we talked about Groundhog's Day coming up. Of course, Steve and our awesome First Alert meteorologists are the one that we're getting our forecast from. But you've got the Groundhog Day. Tell me, if he sees his shadow, he's scared away. It's 6 more weeks of winter, right?
That's if you believe in the folklore, if he sees his shadow, then we get an extra 6 weeks of winter on top of what we normally get. But if he doesn't, then supposedly spring arrives early. But with the El Nino-driven weather pattern we've had, does it really matter at this point?
It doesn't. It just feels like spring already out there.
Right, it does. It feels like March.
Well, we'll just stick with you for our forecast then, Steve.
Thanks.
We appreciate that. Now to a First Alert this morning. There have been at least 7 people that have died in house fires so far this year. That's according to the U.S. Fire Administration. And Emily Roberts is joining us live this morning outside a Nina Menasha Fire Rescue Station. Emily, you spoke with firefighters, and they're showing those stats. They have some life-saving advice as well.
Right, Emerson. These numbers are actually pretty alarming. Nina Menasha Fire Rescue's Assistant Chief of Fire Prevention and Fire Marshal Adam Dorn tells me those 7 deaths are confirmed through data on the U.S. Fire Administration's website. But Adam Dorn says that number could actually be higher. That could actually be 8 deaths right now. There's also some other statistics that the U.S. Fire Administration tracks. So in the past, let's see here. The U.S. Fire Administration reports 47 home fire deaths last year in our state, and that was down from a 10-year high of 52 in 2022. So if this rate of 7 fire deaths a month continues, that would mean that at least 84 people would die in the state of Wisconsin by the end of the year in a house fire. So that's why firefighters across our state are really hitting home on some ways to stay safe.
And Emily, these are really startling numbers right there. Like you said, just 7 so far, just this month alone. The firefighters sharing some life-saving advice. What are some of those messages that they have for people?
Right. I mean, it's really crazy to think about that. We are just now wrapping up January and we are at 7, potentially 8 deaths. So as I said, firefighters are really pushing education right now. They're taking to social media, whatever that looks like for their department, Facebook, TikTok, even things like that. And they are really wanting folks to recognize the importance of working smoke detectors. Assistant Chief Adam Dorn says working smoke detectors absolutely save lives. He says most home fire deaths are preventable with a working smoke alarm. He encourages everyone to check the batteries on smoke alarms once a month and replace any that are older than 10 years. He also says it's a really good idea to check up on family and friends and make sure they are prepared, everything is working all right in their homes to make sure that they stay safe in the event of an emergency. He also says it could be a good idea to look at your carbon monoxide detectors at the same time. Well, these 7 deaths have been from house fires. The CDC says that more than 400 people every year die from accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. So as you're going through your checklist, just a good idea to check up on all of those things, make sure they're all working to protect you and your family.
Life-saving advice there, Emily. Thank you so much. And this is a morning of reminders because we're joining Catherine over in First Alert Traffic, and another very important reminder for drivers out there helping keep people safe on the roadways, right?
Absolutely, people who work there. And what's happening here, what we're showing you in this video, is something that happened recently in Milwaukee. Officials say 2 highway workers there are hurt because a driver who was falling asleep hit them. It happened just after 3 yesterday morning on I-94, which is such a busy corridor there. One of the workers is already out of the hospital. We don't yet know how the other is doing. The driver was cited for inattentive driving. And we just got some new information, Emerson, from AAA on how dangerous it really can be for highway workers. AAA just put out a new study I want to show you. So here we're talking not about law enforcement officials, but those roadside helpers. So, people like tow truck drivers, ambulance drivers, utility maintenance vehicles, things like that. 123 of those roadside helpers were killed between 2015 and 2021 in the U.S.
And they're just out there doing their job, just assisting people. I mean, we see it every day driving on the main thoroughfares that you're seeing people out there, like you said, tow truck drivers, police officers, just anybody out there.
Yeah, they're just doing their job. I mean, we've heard that analogy. Imagine if you were sitting at your desk in your office and a car went by you at 80 miles an hour through your workplace. It really can be really dangerous. And so what the law says, in order to protect these people in Wisconsin, you have to move over, you have to switch lanes if you can, or at the very least you have to slow down for those roadside helpers, tow truck drivers, and also for law enforcement officials.
Very, very important. A good reminder for the drivers out there just in your morning commute or anytime you are out on the highway. We appreciate that as always, Catherine. And now we're going to continue the tour of the studio this morning. I'm going to go join Aisha at the First Alert Safety Desk, and you're touching on 2 really, really important stories. I mean, they're always so important here at the First Alert Safety Desk, but which one are we talking about first? The scam, right?
Yeah, in
so
Door County.
If you are a parent that has a child in high school, you're definitely going to want to pay attention to this because it's a phone call scam.
It is a phone call, and I know Tammy talks a lot about these in her consumer reports.
Sure.
We really wanted to get this across to everybody, even though it came from the Door County Sheriff's Investigative Unit. They posted about this, and it's really about parents who have kids in high school, like you said, who are preparing for college. And the first one is this call that you get. Callers say that your child requested material. So you might be thinking, okay, that makes sense because they're preparing for college, maybe wanting to take the ACT or SAT.
Yeah, that season's coming up, right?
Right. Yeah. But the scary part with this is that they have your child's actual name. Isn't that kind of scary?
And it makes it seem so real as well.
Totally. It seems legitimate.
Sure.
It seems like it's a real thing. So officials want you to be vigilant. They want you to be careful with releasing any credit card information with somebody over the phone who you are not sure who that person is. So you want to verify that that's an actual person. The BBB always warning about college prep scams, just like this one. So obviously they can be very convincing, especially if they know real information that is convincing. So you got to be careful.
And it's important, I think maybe sometimes people aren't aware, you can hang up and do your research and then call the number back when you know it's a specific number. You can hang up and do that. Yeah. And that can, like you said, verifying that you're speaking with the right person.
And if they're real, they'll probably take the call, right? And it's a normal thing and it's a normal process. And but in this case, it probably wouldn't be.
Just so crazy and so important, especially during this time of the year as kids are preparing for those tests.
And the College Board will never ask you for that kind of information, so your best bet is just hang up and leave it be.
Hang up and move on with that.
Right.
And that's such an important topic. And we also talked about your other story this morning.
The cosmetics.
So that's anybody out there using cosmetics, make sure to keep them safe too.
So the FDA is really cracking down on how certain companies are making these products. This is anything, deodorant, things you're spraying on yourself, cleaning yourself with. So this really applies to all of us. And last year, under the Modernization of Cosmetics Regulation Act, or MOCRA, this is why this is all possible. It officially went into effect last year at the very end of the year. And so they're able to crack down a little bit with these companies. And so federal regulators now are requiring manufacturers and distributors to submit reports of anything that might go wrong with these products. Again, anything that could be life-threatening, you get a rash, something like that. That report, that needs to be submitted to the FDA now, where before it was just a voluntary thing. So we weren't getting a whole lot of these reports possibly. People had some effect, it affected them somehow, but it wasn't reported. So now we'll be able to crack down on some of these companies, the ingredients that they're using to protect us.
Making sure that the people that use those, they're feeling
Exactly.
safe at home. That's always important. And great morning here at the First Alert Safety Desk. Aisha, thank you as always. And now we want to invite everyone to have a chance to cozy up over here at the news desk, maybe with a cup of hot cocoa, because it is National Hot Chocolate Day. So you can make some at home or in our news station break room, like our producer Jake was so kind to provide for us. So we've all got our cups of cocoa here.
Cheers.
Jake says thank you in our ears. Thank you, Jake.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Jake.
Cheers to you all at home.
Mine with coffee because I think
That's good.
That might be
Add a
nice.
little caffeine to it,
Yes,
right?
Make it
I've
your
heard this
own.
described, the coffee hot chocolate thing described as the poor man's mocha.
Mochaccino.
Yeah, basically.
Something like that. That's fantastic.
So,
And
question: when you have hot chocolate, are you pro marshmallow or anti marshmallow?
Need the marshmallow.
I'm pro
all the
everything. Pro
marshmallows.
whipped cream,
Anything
sprinkles.
sugary.
Anything where we get the more sugar in there, right?
It's fine with
As
me.
sweet
Chocolate
as possible.
syrup,
Yes.
chocolate
syrup.
shavings.
Ooh,
They get fancy.
I've never
can
tried
get
the chocolate
decadent.
syrup. That would be
Peppermint.
good.
Jake, what was
pieces.
that?
Jake wants the marshmallow.
Jake
Where's the
Marshmallows.
marshmallows?
This cup is for Jake. We are raising our glass to Jake.
Cheers
He's
to
done a
Jake.
great job with this live stream. We're
Yeah,
so
well,
glad that you
thank
can
you.
continue joining us every morning for an extra half hour. We have some fun with this live stream. It's a lot of fun and some
chill.
good in-depth conversations. We're really happy to bring you those conversations. So
And you can get it, you can go to WBAY.com, but you can also
Yeah.
get it like on your smart TV if you use Roku.
Yeah.
all of it, so many options.
So many
We're
options.
everywhere.
love the
You
options.
can't avoid us.
I just put something on my Facebook page with a link. So just go to my Facebook page and it links right to this.
Click
So-
that link, and Catherine and Steve, they're going to get ready for their cut-in on GMA. We're going to give you that bird's eye view that everyone loves, give you a big wave. Have a wonderful Wednesday, everybody. Make it a great one, and we will see you tomorrow morning.